Welcome to another Maid Training Academy video. Maid Training Academy is the world's largest online training school for professional residential home cleaners, where you can earn your certificate as a professional cleaner for as little as $100. Today's class is titled We Don't Work for Free. And the title of the class, is pretty dynamic because you're going to find from time to time where customers directly or indirectly will ask you to do something for free. Now, the good news is that the majority of your customers are really good to work with, where you have arranged for a fee and a list of services to be able to come in and to do your job and to clean the house according to the work order. But every once in a while, you will absolutely, if you're in the business long enough, run into people and customers that will ask you to do something for free, and again, directly or indirectly. And this class is designed to prepare you for polite but firm answers to avoid those type of scenarios. So I'm going to go ahead and share our screen here. Now, let me preface this by saying that Maid Training Academy is owned by the largest maid company, home cleaning service in the state of Georgia. This year, we'll clean a little over 8,000 homes to give you some perspective on our volume of houses and the volume of work that we do out of multiple locations around the Atlanta metro area. So, as with all of our training is an introduction. Our training is a template. You can use it for you and your staff, but it's a good way to introduce and share some of the solutions that we have used as the largest home cleaning company in our state. So as you see here, the title, and this is actually made into a pretty large poster, 2 feet by 3 feet. It's also, and it's hung up in all of our offices, and it's also a mandatory class that all of our cleaners, not just our team leaders, but all of our cleaners, have to go through. So again, I'm going to read this information, but I'm also going to talk off a little bit of this. But let's go ahead and get started. So here are some common events where you will be asked to work for free, and the official answers, at least for our company, to avoid them in a polite but firm way. So people who ask for you to do things for free, it may be innocent. They typically are, but not all of them. Some customers you will find, although a very small percentage of them are really doing it by design, where they're asking you to do something knowing that it's not included. So you have to be firm because they're aggressive, they're persistent in asking you to do something. So you have to be polite but firm. For our company, we stress our people, we don't pay our cleaners that go over on their allotted time for the job unless it's pre-approved. So when we say we don't work for free, we're also saying you shouldn't work for free. And it's not even a choice, because the consequences of succumbing to clients' requests out of bounds for requests that are not approved is that it may never end. So these are listed in the order of frequency. So the first one is customers ask you to do something that we don't do. So that can be it really anything. So for our company, we don't move furniture unless you can move it. It's on a coaster and we can move it with one hand. So we're not a furniture moving company. You can injure your back, you can scratch or damage carpet or floors. So we just don't do that. So you will run into that from time to time. But they can be really an almost endless list of things that they will ask you to do, and some of them are not even cleaning related. So we had one of our cleaners that shared with us actually not too long ago, where the customer handed the cleaner a tile brush and asked his tile brush was a wire brush and asked to scrub the caulking in a shower to remove the caulking. So that's clearly not cleaning and certainly things that we do not do. So again, the question of customers asking you to do something we don't do actually starts with knowing what you do. So if you're a new cleaner at a company, then you really do need to learn as quickly as possible the things that you do so you know the difference between what we do and what we don't do. So the way that you address somebody that asks you to do something like that is to simply say, I'm sorry, we don't do that type of work. And so getting back to the statement of a polite but firm way, the polite always comes first before the firmness comes second. So we always start with, I'm sorry. And that does diffuse the customer. So I'm sorry, we don't do that type of work compared to we don't do that type of work. And so those are completely different vibes and feels and reactions because when you do tell a customer no, in fact, we originally thought this class would be titled How to Tell a Customer No. But as we really boil this thing down, it's really about we don't work for free. But you don't want to lose the customer by sounding rude, and you want to really educate them. So this is more of an education for the customer as well as being firm that you have to sometimes say no in certain ways. So again, if the customer asks you to do something that you don't do or we don't do, I'm sorry, we don't do that type of work. And here's the most common reply from the customer: it will take just a few minutes to do it. So again, as I mentioned, that some customers can be very persistent on having you or asking you to do things that are not part of the service, or they may not even know per se what's in the service, especially like our company, we have over 70 items on our checklist. They may think that that would be included. So again, it could be an innocent request. But when you tell them no, a common response is, it will take just a few minutes to do that. And so the answer, once again, is, I'm sorry, we don't do that type of work. And that really closes the conversation. We just don't do that type of work. Okay. The next thing is customers ask you to add rooms to the job when you arrive, but you have a full schedule. Now, this is important to really break this down. So it will happen where you show up and the customer say, "Hey, do you mind, adding the bathroom downstairs? We don't usually have it," or whatever the case might be. Can you go down there and do that? The key here is, you know, but you have a full schedule. So to add a task, depending upon the duration of it, is going to get you out of the house later, which could impact you getting to the next house on time. And so, as a team leader, as well as a partner on the team, or even if you're individual cleaner, you really need to know what your schedule is like for the entire day, and not just that you have, a job at 10:30, another one at 12:30, another one at 2 o'clock. It's about looking in the work order to see what, if any, time restrictions are. So if you have the rest of your day, the houses are where we have, remote access. We have a key, we have a garage door code or some way to get in. But if you have a customer that's going to be at home waiting on us, depending on what the customer wants to add, you might have a problem with getting to that customer. So even though you may add a little more time and a little more pay for yourself, it could result in not getting to one of your houses that you have after within the window, resulting in not only upsetting that customer who's expecting it to get their house clean, but missing that job. So if you have a 2-hour job, but by doing so much extra work that you're going to miss that window, even though you added 30 minutes to your job and getting paid for it, you're going to miss a 2-hour job because the customer says, well, now you can't come. Okay. So when a customer asks you to add rooms to the job when you arrive, but you have a full schedule, I'm sorry, we don't have time today. Please contact the office and they can add it to your next service. Okay. So just informing the customer, I'm sorry, we don't have time today. And please contact the office so we can add it to your next service does allow them to know indirectly, hey, if you want things added, you really need to let us know up front and in advance, not when we show up. The next issue is, and again, with all of these situations, you can always revert back to some of these answers that we're using on other scenarios and plug them in as well too. The next situation you do run into, it's probably the most frustrating as a cleaner, and that's where a customer delays you cleaning because they're using a room and you have already cleaned all the other rooms. So this can happen where a customer is in their home office, they're on a conference call, and so they're not able to do that. That's fine. I'm sorry, we will remove this room as the answer. I'm sorry, we'll remove this room from your cleaning today. We can't wait because we have another appointment. Okay. So again, the question, the situation is sometimes you'll have a customer that says, "Hey, you can't clean this room right now." That's fine. You can, and it's certainly disruptive, but you do the other rooms until you literally are down to the point where, hey, this is the last room, and so I can't wait. I'm sorry. We'll remove this room from your cleaning today. We can't wait because we have another appointment. And if there's a rebuttal, then you can go into, I'm sorry, but we just can't wait. We do have another job after this. The next thing you run to, and this is probably the most frustrating, and this does happen in the industry, you're in the middle of the master bathroom and the customer walks in the door and says, "Hey, I need you to stop cleaning this room because I got to take a shower." That actually happens. And that's not a once every 2 or 3 years. That happens, as rude as that is. And again, the customer may not know they're being rude. Okay. But as a professional, I'm in here trying to do my job. You couldn't wait till after we're done to do a shower, or you couldn't take it before we arrive. I'm just telling you, you will run into that where you're in the middle of the master bathroom or the kitchen. Hey, I just need to pop in here and I've got to, make something for the kids for lunch or whatever the case might be. Okay. So the answers in these, it gets a little bit more sensitive as we're going down this list. I'm sorry, we'll remove this room today from your cleaning. We can't wait because we do have another appointment. So this is, again, if you've done everything, you've worked around the customer as best you can, but now they're asking you to wait because they're not ready to release the room of sorts for you to finish it. And the next one again is where you're in the middle of the job, in the middle of that room, and you're not done yet. I'm sorry, I'm almost done in this room. Can you please wait a few minutes until I'm done? I can't come back and finish this room because we have another appointment. Now that you might get a little pushback, but you again the deliverable, how you're delivering. I'm sorry, I'm almost done in this room. Can you please wait just a few minutes until I'm done? And most customers are going to pick up on that cue and say, "Oh yeah, oh I'm sorry, no problem. You're going to be done. Yeah, about another 10 minutes in here or 15 minutes. Yeah, sure, I can come back." But if you just let them walk over you, they will. So you have to take command and control the scenario as best as possible. And by telling them, I can't come back and finish this room because we have another appointment. Now, if this is a job that's at the end of the day and you really don't have another cleaning job, you do have an appointment. And that appointment is, I got to get home, right? So again, to let them know I can't come back because this is in conjunction with, I'm almost done in this room. Can you please wait a few minutes until I'm done? And they're going to say again, back again, it'll just take a few minutes. Well, not in the shower, not if you're taking a shower. That could be a 45-minute delay. Okay, but once again, you're going to go to the next phrase is, I can't come back and finish this room because we have another appointment. So you're letting them know the reason why I can't. So you have to politely say no and the reason why. So you'll see a lot of these answers are educating the customer. Okay. Customers ask you several times to re-clean areas. Now you think, and some of you who may have some experience out there may be grinning and nodding your head that you've been exposed to this, and as odd and ridiculous as it happens. Okay. A customer asks you to re-clean an area. So they're stopping you. Hey, I know you're doing this. I want you to come back into this room and I want you to redo this room. Hey, I'm stopping you while you're doing something and I want you to come back and do it. So what they're doing is that they are managing you like you're their employee. I make the comment there's two types of customers. The first customer is a customer who's buying a cleaning service. Here's what we do. Here's our price and or time. And great. Come in, do what we agreed on doing. The other customer, there again, there's not a large number of them, but you will run into them. They think they're hiring labor. They think that they're having someone show up and they are going to instruct you on every aspect of what you're doing. Now, you will find those a little bit more often when you have customers that require you to use all of their cleaning supplies. But that's not a hard fast rule. But if you're looking at where you run into that a little bit more, are those customers that say, I want you to do it exactly how I do it. And so you might see a little higher frequency on those customers. Not all of them, but again, I'm trying to give you some general terms here. So again, customer asks you several times, not once. So if a customer, hey, do you mind? Can you come back here? I noticed something here that I didn't know if you missed it or if you could do a better job. That's what something. It's several times where they're constantly interrupting you to come back and re-clean an area. These are appropriate responses. I'm sorry, we will do a final inspection after we're done. We can inspect the home together when we're done. But if we keep stopping, we're going to go over on your time and your price will increase. So that's a lot of words to remember. But like any good script, you do need to memorize these things, which means you need to be prepared, which means you do need to practice saying them out loud. So this is not an introduction. This class is not designed only to introduce you to these appropriate responses. It's that you need to practice saying them. In our office of salespeople that we have and account managers, in their training, we tell them you have to say it out loud. You have to get your lips and your tongue and your mouth accustomed to the words coming out. So it's not reading it alone. You have to practice them because when you need to say it, you need to be comfortable because it won't happen often, but it will happen. Okay. So practice these. Okay. So again, it's somebody who's several times asking, come back. Oh, come back and clean it again. Hey, I noticed that the carpet, but so you've got to educate them and tell them what the deal is. So I'm sorry. We do a final inspection after we're done and we can inspect the home together. But if we keep stopping, we're going to go over on your time and your price will increase. Now that your price will increase does, draw the line. Okay. And sometimes you have a customer, well, I don't want to pay more for you doing a bad job. And you'll get those again, not very often, but you'll get that. This is Cleaning is also a bit of retail to some degree, okay? But that's why it's got to be firm, polite and firm. If we keep stopping, we will go over on your time and your price will increase. And you will get customers that will have you come back and clean an area that, by every standard is already clean. They just want you to do it again. So here's the next level of a reply to this scenario. I'm sorry, we already cleaned this area and I don't see anything wrong with it. Now that's the deliverable. It's not, I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm sorry, we already cleaned this area and I don't see anything wrong with it. If you want us to clean it again, we're going to have to charge you again. Now, what you're going to find is sometimes when you have customers that are like this, then those are customers you don't want. Those are customers where they're just going to be a problem every time you show up unless you stop them the very first time. Now, the other thing too, and I am going to stop and kind of retract a little bit, where you end up doing things that are not part of the service. If you give them a little extra without charging them, I can promise you they're going to ask for more, maybe even on that cleaning. And so if you give them an inch, they are gonna take a mile. And the other problem that is connected to that is if you have your own company, that's one thing. But if you're on a with a company with multiple teams, if you do something that's non-standard, and it may be you have multiple packages, but that's not included in the package that customer purchased, but if you do that extra task, the next team that comes in because you're on vacation or you called out sick or whatever the case might be, that next team that goes in there, that customer is going to say, wait a minute, Sarah always did this. Well, it's not included in your work, but Sarah always did that. Or they're going to post a review, or they're going to call the your company and say, I don't want them back again. So doing more than what the customer has agreed to pay for is also about setting the standard for other people that come out as well too. And so again, when you have this customer that asks you several times to re-clean it, then you have to come back and just, ma'am, we're going to do a final inspection when we're done, or sir, when we're done, and we can inspect the home together when we're done. But if we keep stopping, we're going to go over on your time and your price will increase. Okay. And a reasonable customer is going to say, okay, great. So we get to inspect the house together, and that's what I do as a team leader. When I I'm going to inspect the house. So that's again, when we do our final inspection after we're done, we can inspect the home together. And you could add in there and we can fix anything that was missed. Okay. But again, this customer is asking you to come back again and again. We already cleaned it. I don't see anything wrong with it. If he wants to clean it again, we're going to have to charge you again. So again, that usually stops people. The next one is something that you will get. Again, this is as frequency goes. You're going to not run into this as frequent, so it's a little less frequent. But the customer that interrupts you several times while you're cleaning to provide instructions on how he or she wants you to clean. The customer is stopping you. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't do it this way. Do it that way. Oh, the way you're mopping, don't do it that way. Do it this way. That goes back to those two type of customers. Customers that want service. And the other one is the customers that view you as labor and their employee, and they want to direct every aspect of your cleaning. So again, this is a little bit higher tension rate. Their customer interrupts you several times while you're cleaning to provide instructions. I'm sorry, we're cleaning your home based on your work order and how I was trained as a certified cleaner. This is how we clean. So that stops it. I want you to, and I promise you this, with that customer, I want you to use your left hand. I don't want you to go back and forth. I want you to do in circles. I mean, truly like they're treating you as their employee and they want you to clean in a completely different fashion. Okay. So this is one that's a little bit higher. So again, your deliverable is important. I'm sorry. We're cleaning your home based on your work order and how I was trained as a certified cleaner. And so by throwing in that certified cleaner part is telling them I'm a professional. Okay. And if you are using Maid Training Academy, you are certified professional cleaner. Okay. But we don't want to be too much in their face, and again, just say, this is how we clean. And I don't have it here, but again, it may be in the worst case scenario, if a customer is just that one that just can't, they're hovering, they're interrupting, they're not, you can sometimes say, if this is not a good fit, maybe we're not a good fit for what you're looking for. Because these people, and we've dealt with them, 8,000 jobs every year. We've been in business for 13 years. We've seen a lot where we've had to tell customers, we're probably just not a good fit. And we've even talked to customers, say, hey, can you do me a favor? They're going over on time because really you're stopping them and it's going over, and we're going to have to start charging you more because at that time we didn't have this class, even though we talked about it. And it's a class that all our people go through, everybody goes through to empower them to engage with the customer versus the team going, hey, man, we went over by half an hour of that job. Well, why? And she just kept on interrupting us. Well, did you say anything? No, I don't want to lose a customer. She just asked us. So this is about empowerment. Okay. So the second reply, which is the next level, they continue to interrupt you, or even during the same conversation. I'm sorry, if we keep stopping, we're not going to finish on time and your price will go up. We can inspect the home together after we're done. So that could almost be the first one. Okay, but I think the first one's the better one. We're cleaning based on your work order and how I was trained as a certified cleaner. This is how we clean. Okay. The next one is, I'm sorry, if we keep stopping, that's better to say, you keep interrupting me, right? If we keep stopping, we're not going to finish on time and your price will go up. We can inspect the home together after we're done. So you're giving them the out, right? It's like, saving face. Hey, okay, well, we can inspect the home together, and then you can check the quality of the work, how the finished product looks. And the last one, and from a frequency standpoint, this may be a little higher up, maybe a couple of notches up. This is when a recurring customer wants you to go over the work order notes in great detail, or even walk the home throughout the home because you haven't been to their house before. Now, let me state that if it's a first time customer, if it's an initial cleaning like a spring clean or a move in, move out, or whatever the initial cleaning where you have a lot more time scheduled for the job, and this is the first time we've gotten together, this is not that. This is not what we're talking about. This is a recurring customer, and this happens. We see this. This is not, once every 3 years. This happens because the customer is trying to be polite, saying, "Hey, let me just give you a heads up," and whatever. And it's not about that they want to go over it. It's how much time they're taking to do that. So the answers are, again, let's define again. Recurrent customers want you to go over the work order notes in great detail, or even walk throughout the home because you haven't been to their house before. Here's the answers. We have reviewed all your notes in the work order, so we're ready to start. And so that's a polite way of saying, hey, we've read the notes. And even if you want to go over the notes, since you have your work order there, most companies have a digital work order or even a paper work order. And instead of having to walk the house, hey, see, we've got all the notes in here. Even though I've never been here, I have all these instructions already here. And then the next one is, well, I still want to just walk you through. And so the second one is probably going to be said in conjunction with the first one in this conversation you're going to have with the customer on recurring. Well, we do reserve 10 minutes to go over any notes before we start, but beyond that, we have to charge you for the time, and we have another appointment after this. Okay. Or you can, maybe hold out that we have to charge you for the time because that's kind of in your face a little bit, right? And this may be a customer just trying to, you know, be polite, So we reserve 10 minutes to go over any notes before that. And so we don't really have any more time to do that. And we have another appointment after this. So we skipped over that. Depending on the situation at hand, if the customer's just, you can tell they're just being nice, you know, when you tell someone you have to charge them, be prepared for a rebuttal from the customer. So that's kind of that, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have to charge you. Not everybody. It depends on the conversation you have and the feel, and the vibe, and the situation. But again, it's about I have another appointment after this. Okay. So those are the top experiences that you will run into where you will be asked to work for free, and the answers that work for us. Again, with all of Maid Training Academy, check with your employer to see if they have any different replies or answers. But this is a great way to empower cleaners to save the customer. It's so hard to get a customer, but this will allow you to work as hard as you can, but firmly, to save the customer, but not work for free.